Good Wednesday, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Conversations Daily News. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. Well, we made it to another hump day. We, of course, have your news headlines coming up on this Wednesday. We have the truth of the day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich, and in today's entertainment spotlight, I have Dr. Arethusa Kirk, the National Senior Medical Director for United Healthcare, should be talking to us about the foster care system in the United States. Enjoy today's broadcast. For Conversations Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with your Wednesday headlines. In international news, Israel and Hamas trade deadly fire as confrontation escalates. A confrontation between Israel and Hamas, sparked by weeks of tensions in contested Jerusalem, escalated on Tuesday as Israel unleashed new airstrikes on Gaza while militants barraged Israel with hundreds of rockets. The exchange killed a number of militants and civilians in Gaza and at least 3 Israelis. The barrage of rockets from the Gaza Strip and airstrikes into the territory continued almost non-stop throughout the day in what appeared to be one of the most intense fighting between Israel and Hamas since their 2014 war. The fire was so relentless that Israel's Iron Dome rocket defense system seemed to be overwhelmed. Columns of smoke rose from many places in Gaza. By late Tuesday, the violence extended to Tel Aviv, which came under fire from a barrage of rockets launched from the Gaza Strip. A 50-year-old woman was killed. The outgoing volleys set off air raid sirens across the city, and the main international airport quickly closed, forcing flights to divert. Hamas said it launched a total of 130 rockets, its most intense strike so far, in response to Israel's destruction of a high-rise building in Gaza earlier in the evening. In national news, new poll shows that most in U.S. who remain unvaccinated need convincing. Fewer Americans are reluctant to get a COVID-19 vaccine than just a few months ago, but questions about side effects and how the shots were tested still hold some back, according to a new poll that highlights the challenges at a pivotal moment in the U.S. vaccination campaign. Just 11% of people who remain unvaccinated say they definitely will get the shot, while 34% say they definitely won't, according to the poll by the Associated Press NORC Center for Public Affairs Research. That leaves a large swath of Americans in the middle who might still roll up their sleeves, including 27% who say they probably will, and 27% who say they probably won't if someone credible addressed their concerns. Getting as many people vaccinated as fast as possible is critical to returning the country to normal, says the Associated Press. More than 150 million people, about 58% of all adults, have received at least one dose, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. As that number grows, reluctance is inching down. Overall, the Associated Press NORC poll found about 1 in 5 American adults say they probably or definitely won't get vaccinated, compared to about a third in January when the shots were just rolling out. Black Americans, likewise, are becoming more open to the shots, with 26% now saying they definitely or probably won't get vaccinated, compared with 41% in January. That's similar to the 22% of Hispanic Americans and white Americans the poll found unlikely to get vaccinated. Among Asian Americans, just 9% say they definitely or probably won't get the shots. In more national news, prosecutor plans to seek death penalty in spa shootings. A man accused of killing 8 people, 6 of them women of Asian descent, in shootings at 3 Atlanta area massage businesses was indicted Tuesday on murder charges, and a prosecutor filed notice that she'll also seek hate crime charges and the death penalty. A Fulton County grand jury indicted Robert Aaron Long, 22, in the March 16th slayings of the individuals. The indictment only covers 4 killings that happened at 2 spas in Atlanta and not the attack in Cherokee County. The Fulton County District Attorney also filed notice that she intends to seek hate crime charges and the death penalty against Long. The hate crime charges are based on the actual or perceived race, national origin, sex, or gender of the 4 women killed, the notice says. And finally, in entertainment news, actor Seth Rogen to tell stories in his own Stitcher podcast. Actor Seth Rogen is jumping into the podcast world later this year with a series where he interviews people who have memorable stories to tell about their lives. The unnamed series will be produced by Stitcher, the podcast company and subsidiary of SiriusXM, which made the announcement on Tuesday. Each episode will feature him talking to someone with a different story, from a person who had a near-death encounter with a grizzly bear in Canada to another who had a life-altering celebrity encounter. He will also invite some of his favorite musicians, actors, and comedians to discuss the creative process. The series is being produced by Richard Parks III, who will add music and archival material. Bringing people's stories to life in these sort of audio documentaries has given me amazing insight into what makes us the most impactful moments in people's lives and how they contextualize these moments, Rogan said. The project, which doesn't have a release date yet, will be available on Stitcher's comedy podcast network Earwolf and other outlets. Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. It's now time for the Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich. Mary Ellen, it's all yours.
Hi. This is Mary Ellen with your Truth of the Day. Experience makes us wise. Experience is one of the most valuable tools you can have, as experience teaches wisdom. Wisdom cannot be taught, as wisdom must be learned through your life experiences. Every experience makes you stronger and wiser, as you know what you should do, yet more importantly, what you should not do. Everything you do is a choice, which requires a response. Your response is the experience from which you gain wisdom. Or, if you react, you learn from this experience what not to do. Every life pain makes you a stronger individual. Every disappointment teaches you to be more skillful, and every experience makes you wiser. Today, focus on your past experiences to gain wisdom for a bright, successful future. And always enjoy the day.
Dr. Arethusa Kirk is featured in today's Entertainment Spotlight right here on Conversations Daily News. For Conversations Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with the Entertainment Spotlight. Dr. Arethusa Kirk joined me recently on Conversations Live, the radio show, to talk about not only what needs to be done about the over 400,000 children in foster care in the United States, but also where we can get other resources. Here's a bit of our conversation. What are some of the challenges that children in the foster care system face?
Well, the reality is that we often talk about adverse childhood experiences, and children in foster care have experienced a trauma by the mere fact that they've been removed from their home. They are often 2 times more likely to be diagnosed with a learning disability, 3 times more likely to be diagnosed with ADHD, 5 times more likely to be diagnosed with anxiety, and 7 times more likely to be diagnosed with depression. This is a traumatic experience. At the same time, the many resources and skills that children learn to deal with that trauma and coping are really, in truth, also the strengths that will help them build the resilience that they need for adulthood. So, pediatrics is really built on this notion of early intervention and prevention. And so the earlier we can intervene and help provide behavioral health services as well as many other supports, we really help children thrive and survive.
And I think that thriving is so important. United Healthcare has partnered with a lot of different groups over the years, among them being Sesame Street now for more than 10 years. Dr. Kirk, can you kind of talk to us a little bit about the resources that the Sesame Workshop has provided, not only for the families, but also for communities too?
Yeah, Sesame Street has often been on the vanguard of diverse and inclusive programming, and they now have a Muppet named Carly who's in out-of-home placement as a foster child, and she deals with many emotions that children in foster care are often experiencing. They have resources for foster parents as well as anybody else who's taking care of children in foster care, including video, storybook, printables. And the goal of these resources is really to help send home the message that helps children feel heard, seen, safe, and hopeful.
Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. We thank you all for tuning in to this edition of Conversations Daily News. We'll be back with you guys on tomorrow with more news, Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich, and of course your Entertainment Spotlight. Until then, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Daily News today. Let's make it a great one.